Hi, pipe smokers. This is Paul the Pipe Guy, and it's time for our Two for Tuesday. Today is 4/20/2021, and for those who like to smoke marijuana, which I am not one of them, happy 4/20, I guess. I don't know, just doesn't agree with me. So I have my Bush beer here, as usual. Yes. The two pipes we have is my beautiful Peterson Tankard Dublin P-Lip. Yeah. And that is filled with, oh yeah, vanilla custard. And guess what? For neither of these pipes will I need my little pipe holder because they're both flat bottomed and they sit very nicely. This Peterson P-Lip, this has a great draw. Peterson does a great job. I wanted to introduce that pipe and before my second pipe because I want to talk about what's in this. And this is my Mr. Bragg poker pipe. Yeah, look at that. I love that top. Fit and the finish is just gorgeous. And this actually is loaded up with spark plug tobacco. Okay. Now, most of you know what plug tobacco is, but for some of the people that don't, plug tobacco basically, what they do is they take, well, let's talk about what's in spark plug, okay? Spark plug, it's got the Union Jack on the front, gorgeous looking container. It's got an antique looking spark plug coming off of it with two lightning bolts. So spark plug has in it an English blend of Latakia, Ismar, and some Virginias. So what they do is when they're making plug tobacco versus just your, loose cut blend here, okay, with your loose cut blend, what they do is they'll basically cut up different tobaccos, Burleys and Virginias and some Orientals, whatever's in the blend. And then they mix those leaves up together, but they're loose, okay? So, and over time, these kind of will somewhat marry and take on a new type of flavor. Some tobacco is aged. But with spark plug or any other plug tobacco, what they do is they basically take, with this, for instance, they'll take the Latakia leaf, some Ismar, okay, some Virginias, and basically what they're doing is they'll take one leaf, put it on top of another leaf. Then take another leaf, put it on top of that. Now you have three leaves. And then another one on top of that. And then they'll repeat the process through the whole plug. And then what they do is they take this big tobacco pile, which is usually about, probably an inch thick, inch and a half, after it's compressed. And what they do is they put it under great pressure in a press. And what that does is it forces all of the other tobacco juices to basically marry with each other. So they kind of mix. And plug tobacco can be pretty moist. And actually, I'll show it to you real quickly here. Not to bore those of you who know what it is. But so your plug tobacco comes out in a big cake, and they cut it up into brownie size. It really looks like a brownie. So you have your layers, which basically, okay, that's the bottom. and that would be the top. So you have layers of different leaves, tobacco leaves, all the way down through here. So let's say if they have 4 different types of tobacco leaves in there, they'll just stack them on one another. Then they'll repeat the process, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. I don't know how many hundreds of layers there is in here. This is smooshed down. So when this came to me in a block, I don't know, it was a 2-ounce block. But it's pretty moist. And so I did do a video on how to process this. You need a very sharp knife. You'd never cut across. You always cut down the grain. So the stack is going down this way. You want to cut it from here. And cut it into pieces, between 1/8 of an, as thin as possible, really. I would go about 1/8 of an inch, or maybe 1/8 of an inch, I think, is 3 millimeters. So, for my friends across the pond. So, basically, after you slice, and normally what I'll do is I'll take 2 3-millimeter slices, okay? And if you'll notice in this package here, I basically rubbed out, okay, this tobacco. So in the bottom of this tin, I already have some, okay, that's already pre-rubbed out, so I can just throw it in my pipe whenever I want. And basically what you do is, and this stuff has such a sweet, smoky smell. Oh yeah, just a sweet, smoky smell. So basically what I do is I'll rub it out on usually a cutting board, but excuse me, I did put it on a piece of paper for you to see. So basically, after your plug is cut, it'll look like little pieces of beef jerky, 2 little strips of beef jerky, and you just take it and rub it between your fingers. Some people will put it in the palm of their hand, rub it between their palms. And, you know, you don't want to turn it to dust, but you want it, plug tobacco is very different where you don't want big chunks, okay? So you're not going to want a huge chunk like that, all right? You want to rub it thin. And it does take some experimenting and so forth. So I'm going to actually put this back. And the other thing that I did learn about plug tobacco, because after you cut it off and rub it out, it can be really moist and not want to burn. So it is recommended that you set it out on a piece of paper and then let it sit for 10 or 15 minutes, kind of spread out on the piece of paper or a cutting board, whatever. Oh, this smells so good. So it tends to dry it out. The other thing with plug tobacco is on top, when you top it off, maybe about that much on top of your bowl, make sure it's really fine, okay, because that'll get the tobacco ignited better. So that's my little take on plug tobacco. I do have some other tobacco that cost me $50, which U.S. money, which is 37 pounds. And I think it's 2.5 ounces that's coming my way. Gosh, I for the life of me, I can't remember the name of it. But it's from the UK. And it was only 17 pounds, but it was 20 pounds shipping to the U.S., to my mailbox. The spark plug tobacco, I got this off of pipesandcigars.com. It was like only $11.49 plus tax and $3.99 delivery. But I got this and I liked it so well. After experimenting it with it for a while and watching some YouTube videos, I bought 3 more tins, and they come all sealed up. I mean, this is basically a top where it's sealed. It's sealed in aluminum, and you actually, it's almost like a cashew or peanut can, you know. So, I mean, the plug tobacco will survive in this aluminum can for thousands of years, in my opinion. So, let's light up. Oh, and another thing before I do light up, I wanted to talk about my Mr. Bragg pipe. And this is the newest Mr. Bragg pipe that I got in. I did a review on this. Beautiful pipe. And when I first got it, I was sucking in on it. I'm like, man, the draw seems restricted on this. And so this one actually happens to be a Mr. Bragg number 86 champion. Yeah. And the briar on this is just phenomenal. So what I discovered is when I took the stem off, I saw this apparatus, which looks almost like a stinger. It's made out of aluminum, or for my friends across the pond, aluminium. And when I was cleaning it, basically it just has like a little thing that goes down the side, just a tiny little inlet. And it's supposed to cool the smoke down because aluminum/aluminium disperses heat quite well. Well, I noticed when I was cleaning the pipe, all of a sudden, boop, this popped right out. So, I mean, it didn't break it or anything. It has a tapered end, and it just kind of fits in there. So I'm going to leave this out. It's in the box. I'll keep it with the pipe. But now the draw on this pipe is just phenomenal. And so I don't want that aluminum piece in there. I mean, you know, I don't even use filters, and I don't like filters. They plug up way too fast and reduces the draw. So anyways, so how's everybody's week going? I hope good. Let's light up this spark plug. This is just like phenomenal tobacco. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention about plug tobacco, if you're a brand new pipe smoker and you have one pipe, 2, 3 pipes, if you've only been smoking, you know, a couple of months, you know, buy, you know, these types of blends. I wouldn't recommend buying plug tobacco right away because you might get frustrated. So get acclimated with how to smoke a pipe, watch videos on how to smoke a pipe, how to load a pipe, you know, the different techniques, the joy of smoking a pipe, how to break in a pipe. Watch all of those videos first. Get acclimated for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, a year, whatever. And then when you feel comfortable about using plug tobacco, before you even buy it, I would definitely watch several videos on YouTube on plug tobacco, how to prepare it to go into your pipe, and all the different techniques. And definitely would recommend this spark plug. But if you're a new pipe smoker, I'd probably start out with a light aromatic that's not going to give you tongue bite. Tongue bite is when the acid from the pipe tobacco, or if it burns hotter, actually causes your top of your tongue to become very sore, and it's not a pleasant thing. It can last for a few days. I started out smoking Captain Black, cherry aromatic, and in retrospect, I loved it. But, you know, things like Scotty's Butternut Burley, that is an all-day smoke, very pleasurable. Vanilla Custard, Lane 1Q is good to start out with. Butternut Burley is good to start out with. What's some of the other ones? Well, there's a bunch of other light aromatics that you can research that won't give you tongue bite. You know, I think I mentioned hazelnut. Hazelnut's really good. So let's light this up. Mm. Mm. just such a great. It almost smells like a campfire that you're burning something sweet and not sugary sweet, but kind of, I don't know. It's got kind of a smoky, nutty flavor to it, earth tones. That's good. And the reason why I wouldn't recommend plug tobacco for a brand new pipe smoker, because you don't want to get frustrated, okay? So try one blend that you like. Maybe try a second blend so you can enjoy those and then experiment with the plug tobacco in between. So when I first got it, I would load up 2 pipes. So when one got warm, I could go to the next pipe. You don't want to overheat your pipes. And then I had the third one loaded up with plug tobacco, which I experimented with. The secret is to take it slow, because the art of enjoying a pipe, I think you're always learning. And I've been smoking a pipe now for 2 years. So, but I would still consider myself a new pipe smoker, or a fairly new one. I mean, some of my subscribers have been smoking a pipe for 40, 50 years. And, collecting pipes is fun too. Collecting them can be a real addiction. I bought my first pipe 2 years ago. It was a Dr. Graybow. Right here. Most of you have seen it before. A Dr. Graybow, slightly bent stem. And, it was a great pipe. And I didn't buy another pipe for probably close to 9 months. I kind of smoked that one. But if you're going to buy a pipe, buy something that's halfway decent. If you go on eBay to I think it's Mr. Bragg Direct. Just look up on eBay Mr. Bragg pipes. You can get a really nice Mr. Bragg pipe. In fact, this one here, that was only, that's a gorgeous pipe. And it has some weight to it. I mean, look how thick that shank is. And this was only $33 plus $8 shipping. So, out the door, it was under $50. Or you can go to your local smoke shop and buy a Dr. Graybow. Dr. Graybow is a very underrated pipe, in my opinion, and also many others' opinions. You're going to spend $50 on one. But get something that's decent. I've seen people buy pipes that are cheap. You could even start out with a $15 corncob pipe if you want. That way, if you don't like pipes, and, buy a 1.5 ounce pouch or something. So that way, if you really don't like it, you're only out about $25 or something like that. This spark plug is just awesome. So at work, I'm still honing my welding skills. It's a slow process. They started me out on TIG welding. So I looked it up, And they said a beginner should start out with MIG welding, which MIG welding has basically a handle that has wire that comes through it. The arc goes through the wire, and you weld that way. And that's the easiest type of welding. But they started me out with TIG welding. So you're holding this rod, okay? You're holding this, well, it's a thin rod. And, you have your torch, and you're striking an arc on where you want to weld, and then you have to dab this filler rod in there. And so it takes a smooth motion. You got a foot pedal. There's a lot involved in it. But they said they wanted to teach me TIG welding first, so that when I went to MIG welding, it would be a lot easier. So they fired a guy, I think today it was, maybe yesterday. I try not to get too involved in any drama at work. Actually, my job has very, very little drama because the owner will not put up with it. We're doing military work, government work, aerospace work. There's no room for drama where I work. None at all. If you're a type of person that creates drama in the place where I work, you're not there long. So they had this new kid, a welder. And then our senior welder is 62 years old. Oh, just an unbelievable welder. And, over years, you invest in tools of the trade, You need clamps, and there's all kinds of tools that you need. And a lot of times these guys, they buy their own because, if they want to take them home, they can. But then nobody can come up and say, oh, that's a company tool, I need to borrow that. Oh, but our senior welder was lending his clamps, which basically clamps pieces of metal together, whatever you need them to do. And the ones he owns, he only buys the best stuff. They run between $35 and $50 a piece. Well, I won't get into all the different tools, but this kid started borrowing this guy's tools with his permission. He's like, that's fine. At the end of the day, just bring them back. The guy, our senior welder's a great, nice guy. So, kid's borrowing his tools, and he's going to buy replicas that were cheap knockoffs at Harbor Freight, which is mostly made in China, garbage tools. And a lot of welders, when they have a tool, they'll scribe their name on it, or in the case of like a metal clamp or something like that, they'll actually weld their initials on it. So, So this kid was actually grinding his initials off of his tools and then replacing them with cheap Chinese knockoffs that they didn't even look similar. I don't know how he figured he'd get away with this. So the senior guy is like, man, where's my clamps that you brought? Oh, I put them back in your box. He didn't say nothing. He says, okay. So the kid goes to lunch, and he goes in the kid's toolbox, and there's his clamps. And the kid had actually sanded off, ground off the senior welder's initials, then polished it so you couldn't tell that it was ground, but you could tell. And was taking them home. He probably stole over $400 worth of tools from this guy. Now here's the stupid thing. So our senior welder takes his clamps back out of the kid's toolbox while he was at lunch. He comes back and he says, "Hey, somebody stole my clamps." He's like, I don't know. The kid actually goes up to human resources. How stupid can you get? Goes to her human resources director and complains that somebody stole the tools that he stole from somebody else. So there's a little investigation, and Pat's like, "Hey, look, here's my tools. Here's where my initials were ground off, blah, blah, blah." And they told the kid, they said, "You know what? You can either pack up your box and leave right now, or we're going to call the police. We're going to have you arrested and prosecuted for theft." And so the kid grabbed his box and left. But how stupid could you be? You steal somebody's tools, you know that they're in your box, you come back from lunch, they're not there anymore. So you go to human resources and complain that somebody stole your stolen tools? What an idiot. Oh my God. Most companies that I would have worked for would have called the police and had that kid prosecuted. But the owner of my company, he's a great man. He's very serious about what we do there. Like I said, we do a ton of work for the military, ton of work for the government, aerospace industry, work for the for medical stuff. Yeah, he doesn't need it. He doesn't want no trouble. So he just said, "Hey, man, we can call the cops and have them do an investigation, or you can just get your box and leave right now." Stupid kid. It's nothing worse than a thief, especially when it comes to a man's tools. I mean, this guy had those tools for 25, 30, 40 years. And my father used to say, there's three things that you don't mess with: my wife, my tools, or my money. So, I don't know. Kid was a weird kid anyways. So we're going to let this pipe rest a little bit. She's starting to warm up a bit. We're going to spark up our Peterson Tankard Dublin. Yeah. With the P-lip. Yeah, this is a great pipe. Great tobacco in it too. Ah, yes. Vanilla custard. I actually loaded this bowl last night. And I had a couple other bowls going. And then I was like, I never even lit it. So, and I'm sure lots of you have done that. I mean, sometimes I've smoked half a bowl at night, come home the next day and relight it again. So as I was saying, pipe collecting can become a real addiction. I have to do a recount, but I know I have somewhere between 120 and 130 of them. Most of them vintage. The oldest pipe I have was made it's a Canadian style pipe. It's a BBB. It was made in 1870. And it looks like it just came out of the box. And it's never been refinished. There's no teeth chatter marks in it or anything. Stunning Briar. Can you imagine the person that smoked that pipe in 1870, bought it brand new? I mean, back in 1870, a pipe like that probably cost maybe $1 at the most. At the most. I don't know. You know. So anyways, pipe smokers, we're going on 30 minutes and 30 seconds. Thanks for watching my video. Thanks for coming around for our 2 for Tuesday. Thank all of you who continued to watch and smoke with me till the very end. I know some people probably only watch a few minutes, they get bored, whatever. You know, I ramble on. But I know I do have several subscribers that will smoke a pipe with me till the very end. So, cheers. This concludes our 2 for Tuesday smoke together. So, happy pipe smoking, pipe smokers. This is Paul the Pipe Guy, live from Rochester, New York on 420. Happy pipe smoking. Over and out. And be kind to people.